Alright, and hello, and welcome back. So, last time we finished up the first book of the Lord of the Rings Shire set, and yeah, that was the horse and buggy with Frodo and Gandalf, and the main entrance to Bag End. So, right now we are going to put those two aside because they're not going to be needed, and we are going to start on book 2. Let me just move some of this stuff out of the way because I have not enough space and too many things. So, I hope everybody's had a great day. Let's get started. And the first bag we are going to need is bag number 7. So let's get started. So, as always, please be aware that I am working with a weird camera setup, so certain items and objects on screen may get a little funky. Okay. But that shouldn't be too much of an issue. I try to keep my hands clear of the camera's line of sight to the best of my ability. But it may still cause issues. Now luckily there's not too many annoying tiny pieces in this bag. So it should be fairly easy. But we do need to spend just a little bit of time being gentle. Because you never know what could cause things to explode. There we go. So that's what we're working with so far. Flippy flip. That goes like that. A very flimsy connection is what that's going to make. But I'm assuming the next step will secure it more properly. And it does. There we go. Let me just place this next bit down. We hit that. That 1x4 is actually 2 pieces because Lego can never make some steps simple, can they? Click, and there we go. then that goes there, and now we're cooking just a little bit with the bigger. Little bit of a bigger surface. But next up we have to make another little attachment point. That's going to go right there. And then we've got a little 1x3 that's going to go right here. Yes. And then that goes there. That goes there, and then we're going to want a tiny little 1x4 that's going to go right here. Now things are going to get a little curly-whirly. Alright, so this one is not being too difficult so far. But it is only the first step. You never know when the curveball is going to be thrown. Then a tiny little one. Click and clack. Alright, next up is a multi-step process. Not the end of the world. That, and then this swings over here like that. Just make sure it all fits nice and snug. Don't need stuff breaking off. Okay. That goes right there. And then let me see here. Alright, so we need 3 of these 3x3s. And those just kind of fit right down there. That right there, and then that gets finished off by that piece, and then that fits right there, and then we have that. There. Is that it? No, that's the wrong side slant. That goes right there. Bam. 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 And that should bring that in. Alright. So we're almost out of pieces. So we should be almost done. bag is empty. There's no more pieces. On to the next one. Bag number 8. All right. A lot of tiny pieces here. So, step 1 is putting together a bilbo. And so there he is. Hair might be a little bit askew, but it's a little difficult to get his hair right because he doesn't have a full head of hair. But anyway, with him built, that first step is out of the way. Let's get started on the outside, which is more curvature. There's that, and then connecting to that is this. I don't like that piece. That piece never clicks satisfyingly, you know? When you build with Lego, you want that satisfying little click. Some pieces just never give that satisfying little click, you know? A green 1x2. There it is. There we go. Just make sure that that's all one piece. It looks like it is. And that goes right there. That goes right there. Click. So there's a few pieces in this. This one goes right here. And the problem is they're all the same color, so I'm sure they tried their best to differentiate the pieces, but if you're not looking closely, it can be a little bit of a difficulty to see. see here. All right. A little bit of soda. And let's see. Bam. Bam. One of these pieces goes here. Snap that guy down. And then it's 2 tan flat pieces. And that's gonna go 3 in for right there. And we're also gonna want tiny little portion right there. That should be, yes, that just sits up there. Let's see. All right, so on to the next step. It looks like it's a window. So just gonna do what we can, how we can. Blip. Bloop. Build that up, build that up. There should be, yes there is. Click that down and click that up here. Alright, now we need some 90-degree bricks. Those are here and here. Alright, so I need one of you and one of you. Click and click. Face the opposite way. Next up, we're finding another tiny little tan square stud. It should be, here it is, buried under a bunch of 1 rings. I don't know why, but the set gives me, this was a problem in the Barrett door set too. There's about 30 little rings that come in these sets. Flip. That is going to be 2 up here. That's going to kind of lock everything together. And then a smooth top bit. we're going to take some of these quarter smooths. And if I can find the pieces I need. There's the third. One more. There we go. A little bit of a circular window. So next up, we need to do a little bit of that. And this is going to sit right here and right here. Yes. Kind of a weird little thing, but it gives the desired effect. And I'm sure as the set progresses that'll be filled in and look a lot better. Gotta have faith sometimes. Which is very rare for me to say. You here. It is 2 square. I see what's going on. That goes there, and then this brings everything up to an even surface. Next up, and that is a single piece, it looks like. Okay. Smooth pieces are not my favorites. They're difficult to hold on to. Alright. That's that. And that sits right here. And then the other piece is just a kind of little edge bit. And that fit over here. And then from there, we hit that. There'll be a tiny little flat bit. That piece, and that's a little too far forward. There we go. All right. 50. That goes there. And then this one goes over here. I need 2 round squares. One's gonna fit right here, and the other's gonna lock that in place right there. Alright, so next up, if I can get this guy to clip together, that goes right there, and this goes right here. Bit of a short step. But I'm sure they're doing this keeping all ages and skill sets in mind. Not everybody is as amazingly incompetent as I am. Clicky clicky. Put that to the side. That is a 3-piece, and then that is a piece like that, and then that. And that fits on like that. And that just kind of slots in. Clips on like that. Alright, so next step. It's just gonna be a little bit of a filling in. So that, and this one is a bit of this. Whoop, hello, canaster. How's everything going? It is looking more and more like a hobbit hole each day. Everything is snug, and that covers up those little holes just fine. I am getting through the day. Tomorrow is work. The holiday weekend is over. I am back to work tomorrow, so if I can finish this tonight, great. If not, well, I'll still be streaming anyway, so I mean, eh. Alright. So, that does it for that step. So now we flip the page once more. next step, similar to what we did in the other portion, is we're putting down flowers. That, and you see they look like little flowers. This little guy goes over here, if I'm reading that correctly. Next up, we're going to take a little golden lightsaber cast, and we're going to want to do a few things with it. To turn it into a candlestick. And there is that. In addition, there is a tiny little green piece. Goes right there. This one goes, it looks like it goes right around here-ish. I can always move it later. It's not that big a deal. All right. So. Don't know what this is going to be, but I'm building it anyway, because that's what the book says to do. And we're going to click that down. So that's going to go there. And then we've got a little bit of a click there. And there's a gold piece. And we are going to need a sticker. Number 3. Come on. It's a tiny sticker, so bear with me. It says Deed of Contract. Although it tells us to put it aside. A minute. Looking like a bit of a desk. Go. That down. There's that. I guess it's kind of like a little desk. Well, you'd be surprised. Sometimes you have to not follow the book depending on the circumstance and issue you're faced with, because sometimes the book is out of date. Sometimes the book is not your friend. So that is that. That is that. This one requires sticker number 2, which has writing on it called There and Back Again. Which, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you'll know that that was the original name of what the Lord of the Rings was going to be called. That gets put there, right there on the bench. Now it looks like we're building a bit of a chair. Go. Finally, this little weird piece in the back. There we go. Kind of looks like a chair. You missed me saying it. So the little sticker in the book says There and Back Again, which was one of the titles mentioned for either The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings as Tolkien originally wanted it. But it got changed to what we know today. Probably as he wrote it and updated it and all that fun stuff. Alright, next step. We are going to take what we built in book 1. And then we're simply going to, if I can be gentle about it, there we go. Tried to run. But now we built 2 out of the 3 sections. Oh, and this bag did come with a bunch of 1 rings. So, gonna just grab all these extra bits and pieces. Where is my bag? There it is. Bag of extras. No, these are too small to. They are too small, as well as the ring's inscription only shows when the ring is heated by fire. So, a normal ring will not show any inscription, if that makes sense. Alright. You go over here, just kind of out of the way a little bit. One day I'll get a proper building station and then we can do some real fun. This one comes with a 1 ring too. That's 4 rings for a ring that is only made once in all of history. This isn't even a Lego, it's a squishy piece. Alright. Well, this is actually my computer desk. My computer desk is a corner piece, corner desk or an L desk, whatever you want to call it. So I just kind of repurposed one section of the desk just to kind of have a space where I could sit down and build on, you know? And boom. Alright, and with that we are starting on the other wing of bag end. Come on. You're all gonna be all over here, aren't you? Alright. Come on out, you tiny little goblins. Go. Alright, so now we're looking for a little, here it is, a little knobby bit. And gold piece. And then we're going to square that off on top. Put that right here. And we're also going to want a long boy. We're going to smack down that piece. That looks like that's all for this step. So we're going to take a long gray piece. Really weld that piece to the growing block. And bam. Okay, and that goes right there. And then we're slapping down that piece. Everything in this is still very fragile. So I'm trying to be gentle with everything. There we go. Bam. That. Get here. And then we are going to here. that. Alright, and that slides in here. Alright, we're getting there. We are getting there, getting there, getting there. So we will want this. Wham. There's that other one. This one's a little bit steeper, and that goes right there. And that goes right there. And there. There. Slowly coming together. Here. And you go right here. All right. All right, let's see. Slowly getting there. You know, sometimes Legos are not the most exhilarating thing. Want to go there. This to go here. That is a 1x4 brown, so it's gonna go there. This guy to go here. This guy, and then that is, I think it's a yellow. Good enough. And then we take you and you kind of go here. Here, is that correct? Yeah. There's no satisfying click. I like when the pieces have that satisfying click. I don't like it when pieces don't give me that click. I mean, I know it's on. I know it's secured. But it's just like, come on. Give me a click or something. Right. Right. Just that for the step, huh? Well, whatever. This one's a bit of a repetitive little step, but I'm sure it'll make sense. That'll go right here. These two go here, go here, and then we want thick angle piece. That, and here it is, hidden under some pieces. That's gonna go there. You're gonna go here. You go there, you go there. You go here. And where is it? Here it is. And that slides in right there. Alright, and that should be it for that step. Alright, let's see here. That. That. And then we want a smooth 1x2. That's right here. I think this is going to be a fireplace once it's done. Looking like a fireplace to me. Now, looks like we're doing a little something with some connects. Which means we're probably getting ready to do some fancy little twisty-turny stuff. that. And then this is sticker number 4. Which is the burning envelope. So I'm guessing this is going to be let's see. Need one of these. We're gonna need one of these. And click. And then we're gonna take the little ring, clip it on there. Be careful, I don't want to lose this tiny little guy. There we go. All right. Ugh. That gets shoved all the way down. We put a little binder piece on the other side, make sure that still spins freely. Put another free floating piece here. This will take this piece, black flat piece, the brown here, and then that goes on the tip. Go, and that just kind of spins. Okay. Bam. Bam. And that'll fit here. This is getting a little bit unstable now. Ah. That goes there. That goes here. And then, yeah. When you turn it, it turns the burning envelope into the One Ring, just like in the movie and in the book. Okay. So next up, some arches. Probably probably just to hide all the mechanisms. Okay, things just got a whole bunch more interesting. That goes there. Then this goes here. Yep, it is nicely thought. Lego does put a lot of thought into their sets. Like, it's amazing how much thought they put into this stuff. It's nearly Disney level. Not quite, but nearly Disney level. Because I don't think Lego hires a bunch of people full time to think up on how they can make magic happen. Let's go with this slots in. Oh yeah, there's definitely people designing the sets, but I'm always amazed at how much thought they put into these things. They're definitely getting paid a lot of money to develop these sets. Okay, there's that. You go here. You go here. What are you doing? Yes, okay. There's so much brown, it's throwing off the everything. All right. Next up is green block and 2 of these. That's going down here. For some reason, we're going back down here. That goes on that. And that kind of just slots in like that. Now, the mechanism is pretty well hidden. We can just flip it up and down. Yeah, the bar door is full of that light lime green color too. I think in certain sets it's used as like a placeholder brick for stuff that's going to be covered up. The bar door also uses a lot of bright red brick too. But you never see it because it's all hidden by the vast blackness of the tower. Right, next up, that, and that. That's just gonna sit right here-ish? Yeah, right there-ish. And where does this go? Here. And there's gonna be one right here. And then another lime green here. Okay. Now, going to finish that off. Lovely. And we're gonna add sort of a stone arch around the fireplace so it looks a little more earthy. Here we go. And then a bit of an odd choice. But we're putting down a rug. There we go. And then all that's left is tiny little pieces that are going to go in the bag of extra parts. Next up, bag 10. All right. I can already see from step one we're going to need to get all the little tiny bits out. Yep. Bilbo, or as close to Bilbo as Lego can get. I'm just putting him here. I'll probably have to move him in a bit. But you never know. Okay. There's that. difficult to see because they didn't really put it together too well, but at least on the picture anyway. Yeah, the downside to the Hobbits being a little shorter is their legs don't actually bend. They're just static. So if you need them sitting down, you need to actually build their legs into a sitting position. So that goes there, yes, right there. We're still building stuff out. Not sure why they make all the base building in so many steps. Just have the base built out from the beginning. That should be the first steps, is just building out the base, and then you don't have to worry about it later. There we go. All right, very important first step. There, step done. I don't know if they have popped in or not. I don't know if... I don't even know who contributed towards it, because it was sent in as an anonymous donation. So, for all I know, they could very well be lurking right now, and I would have no clue. Just an anonymous person deciding to do a little bit of good for a small streamer. And I thank them with the bottom of my heart, because they have allowed me to do something besides mindlessly play video games. Which while I enjoy, it does get old playing video games over and over and over again, you know? So any chance I have to do something different, I will jump on with the greatest of enthusiasm. There we go. But I do have a couple other buildables listed up on my throne. A couple of them are Lego sets, a couple of them are Gunpla sets. It's really just a way of, you know, doing something different. Getting away from the video games is healthy, or at least a little healthy. Let's see here. Gotcha. Alright, so we're going to want that, we're going to want this, and we're going to want this, and we're going to want this. And this pops into this. That fits in right there. This goes in right there. It's a bit of a weird piece, but tis what it is. That fits like that. Okay. Three. Right there. So this is going to be like the other side. It's just going to snap in to what we built already. It's just we've got to actually get it set up. 6 and 3. Why 6 and 3? Just make it a 9. You put plenty of 1.9s in this set. Why do you have to make this one broken? Okay. So that fits right there. And that kind of locks it into place. That goes there, and then this goes here. That goes up there, and then we got this. And then finally, slot that guy in like that. So that's a 3, this is a 2. And one of these little curvy pieces. Goes like that, I think. Then that snaps in. Some of these pieces fit a little oddly, but so far it's nothing catastrophic. Go. And then this. It's the wrong right piece, wrong orientation. Right piece, wrong orientation again. Go, and then that is one final section. Here it is. That is topped by that. You snug in like that, and that kind of hides all the stuff. You clamp down like that. You down like that. There we go. Slowly cleaning up, slowly looking nicer. Slowly makes it more and more look like I know what I'm doing. Bam. Alright, so now we're going to place that right there. This right here. And that goes right there. Alright, and then we kind of just put these little flat pieces all over the place. They're all gonna kind of just meld together into some whatever unholy shape they need to. Here, and then, well, bam. I need 3 4x1s, 2 90-degree corners, and a long tail. that. That. You two fit in right here. All right. Moving on. Started playing War Thunder again. Still not a big fan of it. Okay. We are slowly grinding down a bit. I don't know. I'm kind of burnt out on yearly first-person shooter type games, you know? Give me a silly shooter. I don't want all the serious milsim run and gun first person type stuff. I want silliness. Give me silliness. Yeah, Fortnite's not exactly what I had in mind. Fortnite is for people who can't figure out how to play Call of Duty. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. Yes, here. Yeah. No, that's what I mean when I say, you know, yearly shooters. It's like, oh, another Call of Duty's out. How terrible will this one be? because unfortunately, when you release yearly, you throw quality out the window. It's like, I'm sorry, there's no way you can provide quality year after year. Just not possible. Go, a lot of tiny little fits on this, but we are getting there and we are almost out of pieces. That is a good sign. That means we are going to be on the next bag soon enough. What is my brother sending me? Oh, just the Lincoln Memorial. Not important. Can slip in there. Interesting. Like there's a couple pieces I'm missing, but I don't see any pieces that have fallen. I will just need to leave their spaces open, and hopefully at some point I can figure out where they've disappeared off to. one leftover bit. Tuck it away in the bag. Now, we're moving on to bag number 11. All right, so gonna need this piece and this piece. And those go right there. Goes there, and this goes here. Go. That goes there. That, and we're gonna you. This is a tiny little specialty piece. That must be it. That'll go right there. All right, and then we've got two little one by ones, one going here and one going here. And then on to the next page. All right. The letter, then for a tan, there we go. And that's just a stack of letters. Nothing too important, but it adds just a tiny little bit of lived-in flair. That's not the piece. That's the piece. This goes right around here. want to stick in for a second. That. Now this is going to make a table. Go. And there we go. We've got a tea kettle. Yes. Little tea kettle goes right there. A little teacup goes there. And then we're going to want sticker number 6, which is a map of Erebor, the Lonely Mountain. And there's that little table. And that kind of just fits right there in the middle. Flip. And then now we've got a couple of chairs to go along with our table. Not even sure those can fit too well. Starting to get those old people aches and pains from sitting in one position too long. We have a better piece than this. Nope. Click and clack. And a clack and a click. Alright, next up we've got a window. Come on. Go. Bam. Bam. just a couple more. That. And we just lock it all together with a long piece. And then we finish it off with a smooth piece. There and there. That one. This one. And finally, we create the stone arch that is going to complete the window look. This around because we're going to want a way to kind of slot that guy in, push him down. So that becomes kind of a curved wall. Okay. And then we've got this. And we've got this. Right. Oh, there's a bunch of tiny little pieces in this step. Why? That's a bit of cheese. Literally, it's a bit of cheese. That goes on there. That goes there. Guess this is the piece it's looking for, and that goes in there. And next up is a clear piece and this piece. And let's just kind of stick all the flowery bits on as best I can. Wonder why they've got cheese bits on the mantle. Wouldn't that melt? That go there. I would have done all that before we put that giant arch in there, but whatever. You. Gonna need you. this go here, this goes here. And come on, slide in. There we go. Then you will here, clicking that arch into place. Go here. And then you are the wrong piece. Come on, where are you? There you are. Some of these pieces look so much alike. There we go. And there. You go there and you go here. You to you. Here we go. Simple little window. There it is. And that goes right here. Okay, boom, boom. And then this. And we're going to slip that in there, and we have to do this twice. Yeah, Lego will reuse parts if they can. It saves on manufacturing costs, you know? I don't blame them for that at all. Although sometimes it can look just a tiny bit funky. This one goes here, because on the other side of this one is actually a green piece. There we go. And that goes there. That goes there. And that goes there. Okay. There. There. And there. Couple of 90 degrees. Just gives bouts. Yeah, sometimes it's these old things that give you the biggest fits of nostalgia. That goes there, and that kind of just slides in there. Alright, so next up are these two. These are going to be stickers 7 and 10, which are family portraits. It's gonna go here, and the other bit's gonna go over here. Bing, bang, boom. Bam. Alright. This goes here, and then we finish it off. That. Some of these steps are really short. Alright, so there's that. That and that. Come on. Go. 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 And there we go. Short steps for short legs, yup. However, sometimes I do need it to be just a little bit more in one step, you know? Goes right there. Alright, and then these are just extra bits. Go in the extra bit bag. Oh. The last bag for book number 2. A lot of tiny pieces on this one, but first things first, we are putting together a minifig. So, just gonna grab that. Gonna take the stubby little hobbit legs, put them on, and then finally the red hair, because this is Sam. And he gets his little gardener prunes. Put him off to the side. There we go. So a lot of this I think is going to be, or at least a lot of this bag I think is going to be detailing and finishing stuff up. Alright, enjoy your lurk, try to rest, sweet dreams if you fall asleep. Bam and bam. There. Just there. Yeah. All right, next up is the chimney. Then we're just gonna pop that in. this in. That goes here. Go. All right, so and then we're going to want another tiny one here. Alright. And then bam. Goes here. And we want to square with a 1x2. That's gonna go right there. Alright, looks like this next section may be the roof. You go right there. Alright, so next up is this. And that slips on like that. And then we're doing it again. Not sure why this is a thing. I'm not sure why you couldn't just. Okay. Okay. So we are snapping that in, snapping that in. We're going to take the little Lego bluebird and just pop him right there where he's supposed to be. should be a second piece. Here it is. Go. There we go. Comes down. All right, so next step. All right. So yeah, this is just a detailed bit. There we go. Quick. That goes there. All right. Go. Little pink flower right down here. All right. now is a tedious part. We gotta put all these little green bits on these little rose bush type spines. Boom. 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 And boom. Okay, that is that step. Next step is just a little lamp or a shade or something. Okay, next up, you two go together. This little rotatey bit goes in, go in that. Little round bits go on here, and I think this is going to be a small tree. Okay. Boom. 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 We got a runner. Come here. Gotcha. Right, so that's a tiny little tree. That goes here. All right, so you all come with me because you are extras, so you go in the bag of extras. Okay, so now last and final step. For we are done with the hole. There we go. And there it is. So that is the end of book 2. So now that we are done with that, we are gonna get ready to have a little fun with some Lord of the Rings online. I think that's what she's playing right now. That is the wrong... So... Alright, so let's give Soma a little hello and hi and whatnot, and I hope to see you all tomorrow where we're going to be working on book 3 of 3. So, stay safe, take care, and bye-bye.